Kia ora. Heavy rain set to push back in towards the western coast of the South Island. We've issued a red heavy rain warning for Westland, as well as watches and warnings up that western coast of the South Island. Fair covering of cloud coming in here as we go through the rest of Thursday. But that warning extends right the way through into Friday as well, and also through to the early hours of Saturday morning. So we are looking at a fair amount of rainfall pushing through towards that western coast, as much as 600 to 800 millimetres of rainfall about the ranges of Westland. A significant amount of rain likely to lead to a fair number of impacts and issues on that western coast. Please keep up to date with the forecast. You can find all that information on the Met Service website. But it is going to be a wet afternoon through that western coast. Some of that rain spilling across in towards the eastern side of the South Island as well. Watching out for some thunderstorms and some heavier showers across those central and southern parts of the North Island, especially out towards those southern parts of Hawke's Bay. But you can see on these charts, waiting out over the Tasman Sea is that next band of wet weather. As that pushes closer, we'll find the winds increasing across the South Island, and you can see that rain continues through Westland and Fiordland right the way through the nighttime and into Friday. Now, there's also going to be some stronger winds through there, so there are some severe wind watches as well. But you can see that Friday is going to be a pretty wet looking story on that western coast. Up north, things are more settled, but even here, I think we'll keep a fair bit of cloud and some rain or drizzle developing through the daytime. But the heaviest rain will be on that western coast of the South Island. In amongst this wet weather, there will also be some thunderstorms, which will bring some locally intense bursts of rainfall. While the heaviest rain is up about the ranges, that rain has to go somewhere, so it will feed in towards those rivers that feed down towards the west coast. So there will be some rivers and streams that rise pretty rapidly, well worth considering as we head through Thursday and Friday. So like I say, we have got some severe weather watches and warnings in place. Now, all of them seem to be on the South Island. That red warning, the most significant one. Remember, we don't issue red warnings unless for anything other than the most significant weather events across New Zealand. But you can see it covers all of Westland. The heaviest rainfall up in the ranges, down towards the coast, we could still find as much as 100 to 200 millimetres of rainfall between now and those early hours of Saturday morning. We've also got warnings for Fiordland up towards the Grey District, and watches as well up through Buller and the Tasman area as well. Like I say, we'll also find those winds increasing down through Fiordland and Southland, and also the inland parts of Canterbury. We could find gusts perhaps of 100 kilometres an hour. So well worth keeping an eye on the forecast, especially on that western coast. Up north, things are looking a little bit better, but we're still going to find cloud feeding in from the north, bringing with it some drizzle or perhaps some patchy rain as we head through the daytime for the Bay of Plenty and up in towards Northland and Auckland. Down south, things are looking dry, but the best of the weather, the brightest and driest weather, is likely to be around that eastern coast. But we're also going to find our temperatures really increase. So we are going to find it does go downhill through the daytime, but the weather is much more unsettled on the South Island. For the north, though, we'll find things turn cloudier with some showers or patchy rain developing across those western areas through the afternoon. In terms of our temperatures, again, it is going to be a hot day, especially out on that eastern coast. Temperatures rising once again in places like Hawke's Bay to around about 31 degrees Celsius, even 30 degrees in places like Palmerston North and Wanganui. Another hot couple of days for you. And we've got no respite from those muggy nights. So overnight Thursday into Friday, it stays very warm. Temperatures in parts of Northland and Auckland, not much lower, about 20 degrees Celsius. And you can see our minimum temperatures through Friday night into Saturday staying pretty high once again as well. Down in the south, we are going to find it is a wet story. We've got those watches and warnings. It's a wet, unsettled looking story. Heavy rainfall on that western coast. Some of it will spill across in towards the east as well, but the heaviest by far and away through Fiordland and Westland. That rain, though, will be pushed across by northwesterlies to bring some of that rainfall in towards those parts of Otago and Canterbury, especially up towards the headwaters of the lakes and rivers through there as well. But for those eastern sides, although we are going to find the cloud thickens up and might find some patchy rain later on in the day, the biggest impact is going to be those higher temperatures through the eastern side. Temperatures here, once again, up to around about 30, 31 degrees Celsius. Obviously cooler out on that western coast beneath the cloud and the wet weather. But I think it is going to be a drier but warmer story in the east. But with that heavy rainfall on the western coast, well worth keeping up to date with the latest forecasts. As we go in towards the rest of the weekend, a long weekend around the Wellington region, we are going to find more cloud through there. This front, you can see as we've gone through Saturday, moved to the north, weakened away, a better and improving story for the western coast. And I think we are going to find a little bit cooler on the South Island as we go towards the end of the day on Saturday. High pressure builds back in through there. Things are looking a little bit more settled. This front weakened away a lot more than that heavy rainfall we'll see on Thursday and Friday. More cloud around those western facing coasts of the North Island. It's this next feature up in the north, which is the next weather event we're going to be keeping a very close eye on here in the office. As we head into Sunday, low pressure moves in towards the north, brings some wetter and windy weather back towards those northern and eastern parts of the North Island. Places like Tairafti, perhaps even up towards Coromandel and Auckland, worth keeping a very close eye on the forecast for you. And it's not just the area around us, we're keeping a very close eye on up in towards the Coral Sea. Obviously, as we go through the next couple of months, the tropical cyclone season is still very much with us. So we'll be keeping a very keen eye up towards places like the Coral Sea through the weekend, where we may well find one or two tropical cyclones starting to form. So it is going to be a very active couple of days to come. We've got that red warning for heavy rainfall on the western coast. We've got the next area of low pressure across the north of the North Island by Sunday, and we've got a fairly active development up in the tropics as well. So there's plenty to keep your eye on over the next few days. As always, you can find the latest forecasts at metservice.com.